to the Diablo podcast. We are online at diablopodcast.com, and this is a service of diablo.incgamers.com, the official Diablo 3 website. I'm your host, Flux, and joining me this week is my co-host, Elly.
Hi.
And we're talking about lots of cool stuff this week.
We've had more news this week, I think. Well, we've had some good news.
Yeah, we've been happy that the Bashiok, our Diablo 3 community manager, has been cryogenically unfrozen and started making lots of posts. And there's been lots of information, and we're tuning up towards the beta and the release, which will be coming any month now. Our first topic of the week on our weekly news attack, as we like to call these, because it sounds cool, was last week a big topic was the skill cooldowns that Blizzard had recently announced, and we discussed it at length in the show and also on the other podcast, which I did with some other volunteers, which is even more discussion of skill cooldowns, because they're cool and they're also down. That's like the kids say.
You did there.
Yeah, I'm pretty crafty that way. Anyway, I bring it up again because we ran a vote on it last week, which went live the day after the podcast recording was, and from the vote totals, which you can see in the news post for this site, 30% of over 2,600 respondents, 30% love the design and 28% like the design, which is more than 50% if my math holds true. Almost 60%, in fact, are pretty fond of it or at worst indifferent to it. Only 36% either dislike or hate the design. So what do you feel that those 36% should do, Elly?
Get off the island.
There you go. People still say that? Was that Survivor? That show's still on, right?
Oh,
Sometimes?
I don't know. I've lost count of all the reality shows that are on now.
Yeah, we're old. We don't care. We have lives. We spend our time on the internet. Anyway, that feature was obviously pretty popular conceptually, even though we don't really know the details about it yet. But, you and I pretty much agreed on that. If the skills are cool and powerful and effective, then we don't mind having a big cooldown.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Great design. That's how I voted.
So Jay Wilson can sleep soundly at night. Hey, in more recent news, which was quite a bit of actually, one little tidbit Bashiok posted on the Diablo Twitter feed this week said that they are still targeting 2011 for a release date.
Yay!
Of course, they did their usual, being that this is Blizzard, games are released when they're done. If it's not perfect, they're not going to rush it out just to make a date. They'll put it out in March, and you can all wait and go to hell, etc. So, do you mind waiting? Obviously, it's kind of a rhetorical question. We don't mind waiting if the game is not done yet.
No, I don't mind waiting. I don't know whether it will come out in 2011.
You've made predictions in the past to that.
Yes, I have, to that effect.
And you said, what was it? I think you said February 2012. That was your last prediction, right?
No, it was 11.
Oh, no. It was next month.
Yeah, that was a real punt, that was. That was based on the Book of Cain.
Yeah, a little numerology was influencing your vote.
But no, probably not.
So you're backing off of your 11-11-11 prediction, and you're thinking 12-30-11?
Well, I think originally I thought next year, beginning of, but then when the Book of Cain came out, I changed it to 11-11-11.
Conveniently, I just added a Book of Cain page to the wiki a couple days ago as a part of the merch section. Go to diablowiki.net/merch, and you can see everything they've ever sold for Diablo 3, and the list is obviously growing. And the Book of Cain, they removed it from Amazon, where initially it had that 11-11-11 date. But it's still listed on Amazon Canada and Amazon UK and Amazon Germany and probably others. I didn't check every Amazon in the universe. But anyway, the other release dates, there was one in November and one was November and one was in December, like December 12th or something like that. So I don't know if those release dates, the fact that there were 4 listed and all 4 have radically different dates, I don't know if those dates have anything to do with actual, space-time continuum of our universe.
They're usually plucked out of thin air, aren't they, really?
Yeah, I kind of thought they were like the game release dates, which, as you say, are plucked out of thin air. This is where you add the other point you were going to make before I cut that off.
I can't even remember what it was.
Something about Martian Amazon, probably.
Yes. So, did you ask me a question?
No, I just talked and then gave you a chance to add some words after I finished.
No.
Which is what passes for conversation on most of my dates. So, yeah, we don't think the Book of Cain date is really of any validity towards the actual game date, although it'd be nice to pretend.
Yeah, but there's still aiming for 2011. They're still maintaining it will be out this year.
So the Book of Cain date is moved to a later time. Could you say they've been raising Cain?
Oh, God.
No?
Bada bing.
Ba-dum-bum-bum. Next topic. This one is, we'll try not to spend 45 minutes talking about this because it comes up every other month and there's always confusion. But Bashiak made a post about party size and item drops in Diablo 3. And one of the cooler innovations of Diablo 3 is that you only see your own items. You don't see, Diablo 2's item drop system was the public piñata where everything's filled out at once and first come, first serve. And Diablo 3, you only see your own item drops, and most fans are pretty happy about getting individual drops and not having to ninja loot and fight for the goodies.
Yeah, absolutely. I would get sick of that in some games, especially if I played with friends who did it, who are personal friends, because it makes it very awkward because on the one hand you don't want to sort of start an issue, but on the other hand, after a while you start to get really fed up with it. So I was very pleased when it was announced that loot would be specific to you and no one else no sticky sausage fingers could come and steal your stuff.
I'm sorry, sticky sausage fingers. Is that a name of a character, or is that just a general description of the type of person?
That's anyone who put their little mitts on my loot.
How does one obtain sticky sausage fingers? Is that actually from eating sausages, or is that just more of a metaphorical term?
I don't know why sausage fingers. You just think little fat fingers going, ooh, gimme.
This is why you don't have any children, I'm guessing. Okay, so no little smoky fingers for Elly's games of crafting loot. So the reason this keeps coming up in questions is because people are wondering, in Diablo 2, if there are more people in the game, you got more items dropping from the monsters. And people are wondering how that will work in Diablo 3 if you're only seeing your own items. And Bashiak has answered this. He actually answered this via Twitter, and then someone quoted him in the Battle.net forum saying, "What?" And he said, "Oh yeah, sorry, I was exactly backwards about that. I keep screwing that explanation up." And he said that monsters do not drop any differently in Diablo 3 in bigger games or in smaller games. So if there's 4 people, you'll get the same amount of loot for you. There will be more total items, of course, because many monsters will drop items for all 4 players. But you yourself will not see a different amount of total items in a bigger game or a smaller game.
Apart from your modifiers.
Well, that increases the quality of the items, but not the number. But yeah. And Bashiak added to that, the reason you'll want to play with more people is because you'll be able to kill more quickly. And obviously it's more fun to share your skills and have, beneficial skills from other people and stuff. But generally speaking, you will have a faster overall killing time, and thus you will get more items in the same amount of play time, but not more items per monster.
Hang on. You just said the modifiers only affect the quality of the item.
That's how Magic Find worked in Diablo 2, and I think it's how it works in Diablo 3 as far as I know. But
the gems and the gold find and all that's just got to be percentage chance, isn't it? Surely. Well, yeah, there are. Well, the gold find, I assume, just increases the quantity. Instead of dropping, 50 to drop 60 gold. Yeah. But it's curious you mentioned, because there's one of the properties, a topic we're going to be talking about in about 5 minutes is the followers. And one of the bonus skills for the scoundrel increases your gem find. And maybe that means you get higher quality gems, or maybe that means you get more gems. We're not sure which. Well, I think it's chance to find, isn't it? I don't know. I mean, because Magic Find in Diablo 2 did not affect the amount of gems or runes you found in any way. It didn't affect the quality or the quantity. So we don't know how this modifier will work in D3 because it's not anything that we can compare to how it worked in D2. So I hadn't even thought about that. I guess that'll be, they've said that in normal you will find, last we heard there's 14 qualities of gems, but you can only find the lowest 5 qualities. And there's 7 qualities of runes, and you can only find levels 1, 2, and 3 in normal. So maybe you would find, level 2 instead of level 1 and level 3 instead of level 2 of runes, if you had the scoundrel with that skill. Or maybe you would just find 20% more gems total, and instead of dropping a regular item, it would just have a better chance of dropping a gem. We don't know. One of many mysteries. And way to go off the script there, so I'd actually think what I was going to say first. Yeah, I should never have mentioned that. That was a good point. I hadn't even thought about that. No one's brought that up in forum posts as far as I can recall. Anyway, hopefully you made that clear that
or we tried to make clear what Bashiok eventually made clear, is that you don't get more total items in a game. Oh, and the question the guy had was, will you be able to get geared up in a quarter of the time in Diablo 3 in a 4-player game? And yes, if all 4 players shared every item they found and gave it to who could use it the most effectively, but how often is that going to happen?
Well, even less now that we'll hopefully have a very effective auction house, because I think that's going to increase trading, isn't it?
Yeah, and of course we have the shared stash. You can very easily give stuff to other characters.
Yeah.
If you find something great for your monk and you're playing a wizard or whatever, then you're probably going to save it for your monk instead of giving it to some other guy in the game who happens to be playing a monk.
Yeah,
unless
absolutely.
you're a very, very nice person.
Yeah, or you've already got it.
And what kind of fingers would you have then?
You have generous fingers, open hands, generous fingers.
What's the opposite of sticky sausage fingers?
Giving hands.
Floppy hash brown fingers?
Floppy, limp fingers.
Fried egg fingers. I don't need a breakfast metaphor. Are sausages exclusively a breakfast food in your country?
No.
Because they're pretty much only eaten with breakfast in America. So.
Are they?
Yeah, it's kind of a joke. You have like sausages with waffles or toast or eggs. They're not really we have hot dogs and other meals, or like you might have like bratwursts and like a barbecue. You barbecue sausages.
Yeah, we have heard of hot dogs over here. We do have them. Frankfurters.
Gesundheit. So I think we've made clear, or perhaps not, the item drops issue.
Yes.
And obviously we're still speaking hypothetically. We don't have any idea what kind of ratio of item dropping. You can't compare D2 to D3 really, because we don't know how item quality and how frequent you will get bosses and how frequent you will get. You also get items in Diablo 3 for a lot of quest rewards and other things that didn't happen in Diablo 2. So it's not like it's the same game repeated, different.
Like we said last week, we must stop comparing it, D2 to D3.
Yeah, different games, but it's so tempting.
Mm.
Of course, Bashiok compares it all the time, so it's hard to resist. Another topic, they mentioned that they gave us a date for the next conference call, which is going to be coming up. The Activision Blizzard quarterly conference call is coming up on August 3rd. The last 3 of these were on the 9th of the month, obviously every 3 months, and they talk about financial stuff and occasionally give a little bit of game info, but mainly it'll be Bobby Kotick talking about some cool new Activision thing, how they're going to make more money selling Call of Duty online or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the call, Mike Morhaime comes on briefly, the CEO of Blizzard, and gives a brief update on StarCraft or Warcraft expansions and says how great their subscription numbers are. And sometimes they announce a date, such as for the Diablo 3 beta. Do you think we will hear something like that this time?
Oh, I don't know. No, I'm thinking... I'm going between, no, they would save that for the press day, which is before. They'd have it out the way at the press event. But then I think, well, maybe they might do it at the conference call. So I'm not really willing to put money on anything, either of those at the moment, for the beta announcement.
You've made bold predictions in the past about release dates.
Right, okay.
I have not.
My prediction for the conference call is that they'll officially announce the console version of Diablo 2.
3?
3.
Yeah, that wasn't a very bold prediction. I think we already know about the Diablo 2 console version. Really?
Yeah,
I don't expect
to
hear that anytime for like 6 months. That would be definitely a surprise to me. I think they will announce a beta start, but it'll be one of those, we hope to start it in the next 2 weeks kind of things. I don't think they'll actually say, August 11th at 4 p.m. Eastern. It won't be anything like that.
Don't you think we'll already have that from the press thingy?
Nope.
Do you really honestly think that if they'll know the information, they won't tell it to the press at the end of the month at all?
Their press event, they want the coverage to be focused on the new game information, the Diablo 3 BattleNet stuff, and whatever else they show. And I think if they put a beta date in, that would sort of steal the thunder or distract people from that.
For about 3 seconds.
Well, that'll be up on August 1st, and then they can get headlines again on August 3rd with their beta starting announcement.
There's nothing happening, is there, on August the 9th that might be the reason they've pulled it forward to the 3rd?
I haven't even checked.
Right, because we could be reading too much into it. There might actually be something that Big Bobby's off to on the 9th or the 8th or whatever.
Yeah, there could be some other financial reason even.
Yeah, it could be something very simple. Or it could be that they're announcing the beta.
Or it could be something to do with some other Activision game that we don't even know about,
Yeah.
Some new Call of Duty thing or something like that we haven't been following.
Oh, another one. Joy.
Well, cashy.
Gleam
in Bobby's eye. I think that was all the topics we had before we mentioned the follower stuff, right? Yeah, so we're going
We
to our
haven't done
Facebook.
no, we haven't done the followers.
Didn't mention followers?
No, that was exciting.
Oh my God.
That was the best news of the week.
Yeah, the best news was late last week. Our friend Kwang Tu, it was his online name. I don't know what his real name is. He doesn't know my real name, so I guess we're even. But he got a hold of the latest issue of PC Gamer, the print edition, which had a one-page feature on the followers, which are Diablo 3's version of mercenaries. And it listed a little bit of plot info and how the followers will sort of have a witty banter with your character, and also listed 3 of their skills.
Which PC Gamer was it again? Which country?
I don't know.
Right,
because in Chicago, so I'm assuming it's the U.S. version.
Right, because someone said they'd picked up the US and they couldn't find it, so they thought, was it the UK? And I haven't managed to pick up a copy because I'm stuck out in the country in the sticks at the moment, and so I can't confirm if it's in the UK one. Well,
I have a scan of the actual page, but it does not show the month it was in. So I know it was in PC Gamer and obviously the new issue, but it might be September issue. I'm not sure. These magazines come out so far before their month usually.
If anyone knows if they could update the thread on...
Because that's definitely the most important thing about this is what month the issue was in.
No. What month do people buy? Because somebody's gone and bought it.
Well, I could just ask him. I mean, I got him on my instant messenger. I assume he's at the whole magazine. Actually, he might not. He might have just had the scan posted somewhere else.
But anyway, as I say, some guy bought it in the US, said he can't find it in his copy, so he's wondering what country's edition it is.
Or what month. He might have had the wrong month. But anyway, they listed some information about the followers and some of their skills. And the big sticking point with followers for a lot of people is that Blizzard has said repeatedly they are only going to be useful in normal difficulty. And they will be useless and not part of your in-game magic find, gem find, gold find, etc. at all. And of course, people say, how will that not be the case? How are they going to be so weak and die? And that's a big issue of debate. But the skills looked quite powerful. And there's full heal, there's a gold find, there's a magic find, there's lots of useful monster distractions. And you were taken by the scoundrel, I believe, Ellie.
Yeah, he's the one that I went for first of all. Actually, you think it's because he's got facial hair, but I assure you it's not. It's not at all.
He's got this magnificent walrusy mustache people have been loving. And I said stash, and you said we don't call them stashes in my country. We call them tashes.
Well, stash is just another word for money, but yeah, tash. And it isn't that. No, I just drawn to him, as many people are. But his level 10 skill, Scavenge, it was good to see, because that increases chance to find gems and runes. Although he has a naff skill as well. Dirty fighting, where you blind an enemy with dirt, and then he puts you between the enemy and himself. I mean, who's going to opt for that skill if you've got Scavenge on the same level, really?
Yeah, that's not be the whole point, though. Maybe they think that Scavenge is so useful, everyone will want it. They might as well just put some wacky, goofy skill on the same level, and no one would use any good skills against Scavenge, because Scavenge is a great skill. So
True.
Put something funny and that's sort of character themed or plot based.
Yeah, there might be a few wacky people who might go for that instead in a funny build, maybe. But I wouldn't, personally.
We don't know how respecs will work, so it might be real easy to switch back and forth between your followers' abilities anyway.
They've not mentioned anything about respecing followers, have they? If it's even possible.
Given that you can respec everything else in the game, I think it's pretty likely, but we don't know.
You can only use them in normal anyway.
Well, that's what they keep saying, and every time they say it, fans are like, I will find a way to use this character in hell and boost my magic find. And Blizzard has said repeatedly, very, very unambiguously, this is not part of the end game. We will make sure it doesn't work. It's not like we're going to make it weak and you'll have to really try hard. It's like, no, you can't. So, challenge accepted, right?
That's like a red rag, isn't it, really?
Yes. The thing that I actually think for the dirty fighting skill, it could have a function, though, because all the pictures, all the screenshots show the scoundrel behind you because he uses a bow or a crossbow. So, you don't want him out in front anyway. No. He's artillery support. But if you have that skill, it might trigger at some point if you're in trouble or if you're below some certain hit point level. Some of the other skills, like the heal skills, only kick in if you're below, 25% hit points or something. Then the Templar will heal you automatically. So possibly dirty fighting would be something like that. And if you get below some amount of hit points, the scoundrel will run up, and out of his mustache, he will pull a magic pixie dust and blend that with dirt from the ground and throw it. And that will, it'll give the monsters all some kind of blinded effect or disorientation or something like that. And that would be an escape skill for you. And then after he throws his magic mustache dust upon them, he runs back and you could scurry off as well. So it could actually be a really useful escape, debuff kind of skill, even though the description sounds like it's, something evil and taunting you.
Well, that definitely makes it sound far more useful than what I'm assuming it is at the moment, but maybe not as useful as Scavenge.
Yeah, probably you'd want to just find more gems at all times.
Yeah.
Because the sparklies.
Yeah, shinies.
And they fit right over your little sausage fingers. Yeah, I think that's it for the ball.
I just have to point out, I do not have sausage fingers.
Well, of course not. If you had them, you wouldn't have been complaining about people with sausage fingers getting all your items.
Yeah.
You would have been the one getting the items.
Mm.
In fact, you're actually a vegetarian. You don't even eat sausage. So what do you know about sausage fingers?
Pretendy sausage.
Kelp sausage. It's got a full daily quantity of seaweed and rice.
And lettuce.
So the cooking portion of our show having commenced, having concluded, we have some questions on our Facebook page. And the first, which you can find at Diablo IncGamers on Facebook.com. And last week, we had a good question we answered from someone whose name neither of us could pronounce to save our lives. And following that tradition, the first question this week is from Kalayan Kasdinov, maybe.
I think that's a pretty good go.
Yeah, I think he was actually either a gymnastics instructor from Romania or a tennis pro. I'm not sure which, but he's got the name for either of those, by the way. And I have a terrible name, so I'm not insulting anyone else's name. I'm just making fun of his name in the process. So his question was, do we think there will be a system announcement at Gamescom? They're going to delay it from now. And you say no.
No.
No. And Gamescom is coming up August 18th through the 21st, I believe. And there's a big press event August 1st where we're going to get new system announcements. And Bashiak has basically said we're probably going to have another announcement after this event on August 1st. And waiting 2.5 weeks to make that announcement doesn't seem totally out of the question to me, except that we know the beta won't start until after all the system announcements have been made. They've told us that previously. So I hope they don't wait till August 18th to make the system announcement, because that means the beta wouldn't start until the next week or something, which is getting pretty late into August.
Yeah.
You're sure? No. You were very definite with that.
Yeah, no, I just don't think they will. I mean, it depends what they classify as system. They might say give out the size of the stash or something.
So, Mr. Konstantinov.
Oh, God. You did it so well to start off with.
Yes, that was before the vodka kicked in. Ellie says no and I say yes, or maybe. I hope not, though. Our second question was from Larry Garver, who has a nice, boring American name like my own that I can easily pronounce. And he wants to know, do you think the announcement could be a release date, or will they save that for BlizzCon? He's speaking of the announcement, I guess, during the conference call.
Oh, it won't be a release date in the conference call. Is that what he means?
I don't know. He says the announcement, obviously he means either August 1st or August 3rd, I guess, for the announcement. Quite soon.
Well,
I would say no. Not that soon.
No, they've got to get the beta underway before, no, definitely not.
Blizzard's recent games, in the old days, they used to throw out release dates. Second half of next year. And then, of course, it would come out 2.5 years later. And that led to some fan discord. And so in recent years, they have become much more cautious about making release dates only when they're absolutely positive they can make them.
That's wise.
The StarCraft 2 release date was made like 6 weeks before the actual, it was like in June, and they said release date's late July, that kind of thing. So I don't think we'll have any chance of seeing a Diablo 3 release date until, 2 months before the game is out. Of course, that's, I guess BlizzCon in late October will be a pretty good time to have a release date if they're going to make their 2011 hoped for date.
Yeah, and that could well be the 11th of the 11th of the 11th. But we'll wait and see.
I guess we will wait and see. Our final Facebook question came from Whitney Fairchild, who wanted to know our predictions for the upcoming press event. I think we've already kind of covered that. And he also asked, where is our Matt Ullman podcast? He asked me. Matt Ullman is the composer of the themes for Diablo 1 and Diablo 2, and he currently works for Runic Games doing Torchlight music. Do you want to spend 30 seconds exalting the fantastic quality of the Diablo 1 soundtrack, Ellen? I
don't think there's anything that can be said that hasn't already been said about Matt's work.
He and I are semi-online friends, and we trade emails not infrequently. And he has given me some cool information about behind-the-scenes stuff that I've been able to share on occasion on the Diablo site. And we have a big all-encompassing interview planned for sometime later this year about lots of Diablo stuff and lots of Diablo 2 stuff and also Torchlight and other gaming type things. I'll be asking for fan questions about that at some point. But we're not doing that until very close to the launch of Torchlight 2, which is not happening yet, and apparently it's not going to be happening for a while because they're going to be showing the game off at Penny Arcade Expo. So sometime in the next month or two, hopefully, basically depending on when Torchlight 2 is ready. And you can't wait, can you, Ellie?
For Torchlight 2?
No, for the Matt Ullman interview. You don't care about Torchlight 2.
No,
both.
I would say to anyone who's listening who didn't play Diablo 2, because I'm sure there are people out there who haven't, to look up Matt's the Diablo 2 music on YouTube and give it a listen.
And Diablo 1 as well.
And Diablo 1. It is excellent music.
And I think that covers all of our topics. You had some site news, I think, Ellen?
Oh yeah, just to say that there's still tweaks going on the site, and today Rush rolled out something for the site subscribers. Up until now, we've always had banner-free surfing on the forums only, and we weren't able to extend that to the rest of the site. But with the recent changes and the new system that he's put in place, we're now able to roll out banner-free advertising on the main site as well as the forums. And that's really the only thing that's happened on the site this week.
And that's for the site pals, as we call them.
Yes, pals,
you can make a small donation to support the site. And it's not like it's $50 a month. I mean, there's different levels, obviously. People can do it for quite affordably. Any budget you can afford it. And if you like the site and if it helps if you click on the ads and stuff because we are supported by advertising. This is not a magical ferry ride that's plays for itself. We do sell ads and stuff. And obviously it helps out a lot when you guys give us some money directly. And if you enjoy the site, we would encourage you to do that.
Yeah. And it means you don't get any banners anywhere. And you also get a lot more perks in the forum as well.
Yeah, you get larger inbox and stuff, and you can have a signature and pictures.
Yes.
And there's a private pals forum where there's always something cool. Oh, and you often give out beta tickets for other games.
Yes, yeah.
Via IncGamers.
Yeah, we do that quite a lot, actually.
I mentioned one last thing. If you only listen to these podcasts on iTunes or the audio file, you are missing out because the last few, Ellie and Rush have been doing lots of cool video stuff on the YouTube versions and putting in all kinds of gameplay footage and shots of fan art we're talking about and concept arts and other cool stuff, yes?
Yes, and pictures of hot babes.
Oh, yes, of course.
No, not really.
Well, we can work in some of those next week.
Yeah, I might put a subliminal message in just for 1 second of...
It's some Enchantress fan art or something. But yeah, there are... The YouTube versions are definitely worth watching via YouTube, or we post them in the Diablo site and on the podcast site. And there's, the audio is more or less the same. There's a few different edits occasionally, but lots of different video and visuals. And if you wonder what we're talking about at some point, there will usually be, you can see it while we're talking about it. So enjoy. And that is on DiabloPodcast.com. And thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with more News Attack. Bye.
Bye.